2025. What a fucking year that was, huh? Oh wait, nothing fucking happened this year, and I've just been with that, just mostly just trying to get the bills paid, and oh yeah, and also the Online Safety Act, and every New World Order shit that's been happening since July. Prepared for the world to get shittier as time goes on, ladies and gentlemen. At least compared to last year, I managed to at least, get 5 Demented cartoons out, compared to the other years, which I would say I haven't really done since around 2014, 2015, or 2016. So, yeah. But enough about that. In order to not unalive myself, I'll talk about the Q&A and answer all your questions. Also, thanks to everybody that's been asking the questions, by the way. But without doubt, let's get this fucking started. So, Conman asks, kind of vague one here, but what are your thoughts in regards to making content for the foreseeable future? Well, I've stated in the past that I wanted to do a lot of shit, like so much shit to the point that we'll be here all fucking day. I've wanted to get shit done, like my cartoons and my ideas for Doom Mods, but hey ho, Rome wasn't built on a day, motherfucker. But I can tell you anyway. As according to the Demented Cartoons list, I've wanted to make a full-on season of all these cartoons on one DVD or Blu-ray. These titles seem to be generic, bland at best, but those are my ideas for Demented Cartoons parodies, which I haven't actually thought of an actual title yet, and that I've had in my head for almost 7 years. I've either put these scripts on hold, or I've attempted animating these in SFM only for it to keep crashing all the fucking time because of the limitations of the software being 32-bit. The Loudcest House parody was the last one I made in SFM for good reason, considering how SFM Source Filmmaker is obsolete compared to Cinema 4D, Blender, Unreal Engine 5, due to how out fucking dated it is, and it's been in beta since 2012 or 2013, which means that it hasn't really been finished by any chance. But I'll try to summarize these ones to the best of my ability. So if you want to skip, here's the timestamp because this one's going to be a long one. Sonic breaks for the glass is exactly what you expect from this meme.
Ha ha ha, Sonic! You will never escape the ice chamber! That's not what you think, Dr. Eggman!
But made in Blender. Demented cartoon form. With a twist. Safety Lessons is an early morning commercial, or should I say in English terms, adverts. Aired in 1969 with a cartoon dragon, similar to the Racist Herbal Essences advert, but with less animation. The cartoon dragon teaches math lessons before school time, but something is eerie about this commercial. I'll let you guess what that is going to be. Thomas the Tank Engine, the lost episode, is exactly what you expect from a Demented cartoon. I'll say this without saying anything naughty that would get this channel strike down. But to put it shortly, it involves trains with mounted miniguns and missile launchers and mosques. Monkey Shoots Up a Science Base was one that I had a dream about, where a monkey just breaks out of prison only to kill a bunch of guards with a Uzi, whilst Lords of Acid, the Crab Lost, plays in the background as he backflips in slow motion. Oh, and it has something to do with Viagra as well. There's also like Samurai Jack Plays Football, which has basically 2 grime rappers being Dizzy Rascal and I think it's Professor Green, just playing football for some reason, or either that or if it was like a black guy and a fucking random white guy just talking in like typical chavvy fucking slang, or like talking in basically urban slang, and something like that they have to play football with a bunch of people in wheelchairs. And that's where Samurai Jack basically just comes and slices the fucking football in half and then puts fucking grenades in the fucking footballs, only to just like throw them at the fucking people in like wheelchairs, only to kill them. Mr. Krabs speaking the truth about Paul. I guess you can guess what this one is. I'm not spoiling it. Bikini Bottom Massacre is a music video of Squidward going postal on a Bikini Bottom after snapping after his abuse. And I've chosen not to include Pumped Up Kicks by the Foster the People because it's overused, and I decided to use a family favourite by the Boomtown Rats called I Do Not Like Mondays. No Witch Academia Salem Witch Trials, that's another one that takes place after the anime ending. And also of Starfish and Sponges, which is a fucking course, a parody of Mice and Men. But this time with a twist, because after Patrick rapes fucking Poe to death, what happens next? Only one way to find out. The true story of Wallace and Gromit is a mock documentary about how Wallace and Gromit was a silent cartoon in the 1920s, mid-1940s, and how there were a rare species named the Land of the Clay on some very rare island which was nuked. Oh, and we get to see Wally Savage's upbringing with his father too. Pride Flags and the Krusty Krab is another mock documentary about how Mr. Krabs is a virtual signaling Israel supporter, and we get to find out what he's doing with all the money he made from Pride Month in the past. But this time, Pride Month is dying, so he's desperate to make money this time. Mass Migration in Bikini Bottom was one that I had lots of fun making. It's exactly what it sounds like, and of fucking course it's based off the British riots and the wars between the English people and the immigrants in this country, and we have a fish version of two-tier queer starmer. Breaking Bad music video is another one that I was thinking of just using for filler as a Y2K 90 to early 2000s editing you would see in an edgy, grungy media back then, but then I decided to make it into a music video that tells a story about Stickman's wife being captured and murdered, so instead it goes all madness combat over everyone in the gang's buildings, and I'll fucking course just be animated in Blender. Wallace and Gromit, the last episode, part 2, episode 2, Wally's Revenge, is another one I wanted to make as a massive improvement to my magnum opus being the prequel. It's gorier and more gross out, has better effects, etc. It's 2 hours at max with 3 or 4 commercials in between, so make yourself a sandwich and enjoy when it's ready. Season 2 is likely going to be released around 2027 to 2028. Dogs is not quite a demented cartoon, but more likely something light-hearted for the family with an animated tribute with my actual dogs and kept to the kosher adverts from the 2000s, these ones. The reason why I put it in a Demented Cartoon Schedule was because there was one part I was thinking of putting in where the cows act like jihadis driving a plane into the dogs. Aside from what happens before, which is a tribute to the music video of Down Under by Men at Work, Stephen fucking Irwin is a trailer to a Doom wad I wanted to make being 7 levels long, where Steve Irwin is rebuilt like he's Robocop or the Marathon Man, with a stingray strapped to his chest that fires like other stingrays with a plasma rifle, and at the end he tries to kill the Lord of the Stingrays in the lost city of Atlantis. Henry the fucking 8th is another fake trailer, but with more of a scary movie / Crank or any other 90s or 2000s action film with crappy CGI. Basically, Henry VIII walks down to his throne whilst PAMP plays by 50 Cent as the girls get captured by demons, and he says, "Nobody takes my wives and fucking lives." So he goes to a blacksmith who upgrades his cane into a saw blade and a shotgun. He accidentally gets sucked into the portal to the future of England, kind of like how Samurai Jack or Ash Williams gets sucked into like a fucking portal into like either the past or the future, where he is disgusted by the amount of diversity going on in futuristic Britain, and he gets arrested for putting pound coins into a stripper's butthole until the porn star Lucy Pinder breaks him out and decides to gear up with a bazooka and a samurai sword to open up the portal of hell and kill demons and free his wives. Hobie the Vampire Warrior intro, aka Divine Intervention, Dampier's Bloodlust being more of a clever and sensible name is of fucking course based on what I wanted to be my magnum opus in terms of a Souls-like Metroidvania hack and slash, but this time it's the intro that will take cues from other intros such as Dungeon Keeper 1, Quake 3, Blood Omen 2, etc. Jay and Herpy Go to India would hopefully be my first Jay and Herpy animation apart from the comics that were partially released. It's exactly how it sounds. Herpy Strips and Kills People is another music video to the song Addiction by Sister Machine Gun, who you will also know from the Mortal Kombat film official soundtrack. That tells the story of Herpy as a pole dancer stripper as a guy in a leather jacket was flirting with her. Then a bunch of mobsters shoot up the place and Herpy shoots them all with Uzis whilst wearing the golden dress and flirts with the guy. It's inspired by the likes of Cool World, Basic Instinct, and any erotic thriller from the 80s or 90s or before. Oh, and Planet Terror as well. Now reaching into the horror territory with Go to Sleep. And no, not the Jeff the Killer creepypasta. I mean a short film about a kid in a darkly, dimly lit room that looks like this in hindsight. There is something eerie happening in this room, like an entity or a sleep paralysis demon. You know, the one that makes you feel like you are afraid to move because it's holding you down, or that you hear a crack or somebody tiptoeing through your room and you're just too scared to look the other way. And not only that, it's based off childhood trauma too, such as getting out of bed in the middle of the night to get a glass of water only for your parents to either scold you or beat you because you woke them up. Don't think of it like that. I mean, my parents are nice. I mean, I'm awesome people. Like, calm the fuck down. Chemical Halo music video is based off another dream I've had where Herpy and the rest of the girls are having a rave. Herpy, Scarlet, Banana Peel, Kitty, and Layla, the two last girls being two emo girls basically living at a trailer park. They're having a rave near a weird toxic burger place. A toxic burger van which is being served by two low poly models. Buck Clark is in the skyscraper masturbating in his office chair with half of his face burnt off by acid, which is inspired by the front cover of ChemLab. Oh, and the song is of course Chemical Halo by the industrial metal / rock band ChemLab, which, keep in mind, Buck's fucking face is half burnt off by fucking acid, which is also inspired by the front cover, Burnout at the Hydrogen Bar. Sparky the Intolerant Spoon, episode 1, is a follow-up to the pilot I made in college around 2014. This one.
Hey pal, you're going far? Get the hell out of the car! Get the hell out of the goddamn car right now, man! Move it! Move it! Move it! Oh god, please don't hurt me! Shut your bitch ass off and so help me God, I'll blow your brains out! Whoops! I forgot the safety was on! Remember to wipe off your fingerprints off the gun while the police are going to be looking for evidence.
Sparky brainwashes the Polish kids into becoming Nazis and tells them that the Nazi swastika is meant for peace and tolerance, whilst the Hindu swastika stands for racial hatred and war. They also talk about how Indians summoned the elephant god with the pentagram made out of poop. I'll let you decide what fucking goes on after that. Anime College Horror, actual title to be announced, is about a college / university girl who attends this weird college in the Story Desert, which seems to be like it's run by some weird cultic mindset who owns the place. There's dream sequences that are reminiscent of the deep web videos like this one. Hamburger Lady and Illusion of Bias. But instead it's like a weird snuff film, like that runs in 10 or 15 frames per second in an abandoned hospital with dead naked pregnant women and dead fetuses torn out right out of the fucking stomachs. And also the cult leader in a robe standing in the graveyard like it's a silent film. I did it from the 1910s and the 1920s. Oh, and there's Tentacle Ape too. Not sure how I'm going to get the voice actors to do this one. If I have enough money, I'll definitely actually fucking do it. You're Too Slow. What is it? Is another explanatory video about my upcoming cartoon/comic series about 3 disabled teenagers in a boarding special school in England. It's gross, stupid, and disturbing. Think in-betweeners drawn together, South Park and Superbad in a blender with some special edness to go with it. Jay and Herpy, What Is It? Is also something I wanted to make into a comic for almost 13 years, but projects kept piling on top of each other, which made it pretty fucking hard to keep focus on everything. That is why it's been taking so long. It's about a couple, Jay being the fat-lipped construction worker who looks like the front cover of the old retro Smarties cup that I have, which my parents used to have, by the way, and Herpy being the main sex appeal and also the cockiest girl in the series. Although I am thinking of making it into a comic first, I have done some scripts and some comic panels here and there, especially in the Dash Studio 3D, which I've been doing some renders for. This one I'm hopefully going to get ASAP, especially when it comes to the Yuri stories, with the main girls being Herpy, Banana Peel, and Scarlet Karas. Oh, and the two emo trailer park girls being Layla and Kitty. In this comic, I am hoping to get this out around this year. Clunky Clonkers was something I dreamt about, like if it was lost in a fucking BBC kids sketch show around 1972, starring Jimmy Savile and Bill Cosby, all in the clay stop motion. Similar to Bagpuss and Clankers are fucking course from the 70s or the 60s, all of those are AI generated, and I just managed to put it all together like an old school preschool VHS and added the 70s background to the title and made it low quality to replicate the old badly scanned front cover. I wanted to make this a fake documentary about something that feels a bit like Mr. Nosy Bonk or Mr. Blobby in terms of uncanniness, or any of the weird preschool VHS tapes I watched when I was a little one with scary looking stop motion and models.
What the fuck is that?
And this creepy ass chin thing. Yeah, I had a weird fucking childhood. Milkman is something I've been wanting to get around since 2014, but I never had to go around to actually finishing it. I wanted to make it a 2-hour slasher/exploitation film, being the parody of a genre, and it's notorious, infamous low-budget films of the 60s and after, about an English milkman in a small town who goes around murdering and raping people, and especially keeping naked women in his basement for sexual experimentations, like a guinea pig. He also keeps all the actual milk to himself and fills up all the milk cartons by filling it up with his own cum. The actual milk makes his superpowers stronger. And last but not least, there's another horror-based cartoon named Dawn. This one is inspired by Stressed Eric, and the Dawn is my enemy Adult Swim bumper, and the very experience in life that revolves around anxiety and insomnia. This tells a story of a guy who wakes up during the dawn, half asleep, only trying to get back to sleep. It sets his alarm to wake up in 3 hours, but he oversleeps, and it turns out he's late for work, to the point that he has to rush out the door and try to get either a train or take his car. I'm not spoiling for you. And in terms of gaming, yeah, there's Herbie the Vampire Warrior, maybe a Doom campaign mode with 10 levels, a boomer shooter that I wanted to make for 15 years now called Redneck Bastard, which I tried to do in the FPS creator, but I failed since the files kept getting corrupted, and the program just kept fucking crashing, and I was like, shit, and I just fucking gave up, really. But yeah, basically, it's a combination of Half-Life, Quake, and Unreal, in a way, and it just starts off slow-paced, but it goes fast-paced once you progress. It's not like the typical throwback boomer shooters you have fucking today, though. They're like clones of each other. It's basically an early example of like something that was from the late 90s and the 2000s, if anything. And there's other Doom mods I wanted to make, like the one that's a combination of my dreams that I've been having, which is an ARG like My House.1, just not gay, that's all. And then they have it. That's why I plan to make in the future. If anything changes, like my schedule or if new, I want to make, I'll let you know. What are your thoughts on the current state of the Beta Males franchise? This is going back to a weasel who we used to be friends with by the name of Cat Ninja XD, aka YCAT Productions. Basically, he's a pedophile band kid zoomer with no real imagination, because zoomers don't actually have imaginations or actual identities. Go figure. What he actually wanted to make was a webcomic by the name of Beta Males, which was something that he would think of if I had little to no creative thought and browsed 4chan all day, and let the internet raise me instead of my own parents. I'm not going to go into detail, so you can watch my local archive on the No Practice Keep channel, but to keep it short, yeah, it's not going anywhere. His art is shit, and will always be shit. He's insecure and very bitchy over anyone who critiques his art, and still talks about us to this day, despite being literally 5 years ago since we last trolled him. In terms of how it's going, I think he's abandoned the franchise. Well, I should say quote-unquote franchise as a whole, since all he's doing is trend hopping on current mainstream memes / trends for the sake of crowd. His videos are full of memes, which to me appeals to the lowest common denominator. His animation ideas are like if Chris Chan and Randy Stair had butt sex and shit out of Sloth from the Goonies. Like, seriously, nobody has the upstanding creativity in terms of animation ideas. Like, Rayman goes to the gym. Anime's super bad. By the way, anime never had smear frames or even looked like more of a piss poor version of My Life for Me. Bob Ross as a floating head. Baby Metal Dragon. DMC Party. Wallace has a nightmare. If Sonic was in Squid Game, Gromit fails to assassinate Trump. A lot of these animations aren't even animated and they're just animatics. Hey, maybe using ChatGPT to come up with ideas for your animation isn't bad after all, huh? Or maybe we could just use manatees like the good old days, that right when they used to write episodes for Family Guy. Even Ben the Looney wasn't as lazy as this fucking goofball. Before you ask, yes, I have seen your vision of Beta Males, and I've got to be blunt and say, I'm disappointed. Yeah, that's alright. The whole meme humor didn't fucking cut it for me, especially with the trends like 6 and 7, the speedrunning dinner, all of this in AI. Which, look, I don't care about the AI part. What I do care about is it's on the same band kid meme type shit as Cat Ninja is. So I'm not sure if you're really practicing what you preach here, or you just don't really give a shit, because this is exactly how Cat Ninja would write it. Or maybe you should actually give a shit if you don't want to be a fucking hypocrite. Maybe, I don't know, like I thought you'd be having more subtlety and naturally be offensive and edgy. Like, whatever the fuck happened to being edgy, huh? Like, what happened to actually being as offensive as possible without caring what people think and jumping on the next meme, finding it funny, was every normal person in the room just sits there and trying their best to not make fun of you, and by pretending to agree whilst they shit talk you behind your back. Again, jumping on trends like 6 and 7. Especially when you have other zoomers writing that shit for you. You know what I'm talking about. And that you used to be much more offensive and actually hate zoomer shit 3 years ago. And hey, what do I know? I'm just an out-of-touch unk who's sick and tired of the current zoomers that roam around Twitter and the rest of the internet. I got called an unk. Also, I'm disappointed that you didn't go my dark comedic idea of a beta males. Also, make me a part of the writing team, damn it. What is your favourite animation that you made? My favourite animation I made, eh? That's a tricky one, because I can say that with a lot of them. Let's just say that before the Willis and Grant episode, I'd say The Milkman. Because at first I was going to make it an actual disturbing exploitation slasher film with some sequences that would be straight out of Salad Fingers. I was actually going to take it seriously, but when I thought, fuck it, and decided to go with Andy Wilson. Cyber 8 mixed with cartoony slapstick in Source Filmmaker. It was fun for a while. Especially that one scene where Milkman and that one bird were having a fight and he was chasing her with his willy hanging out. But after that, it'd have to be a tie between Wallace and Gromit and the Family Guy Lost episode. I just enjoy putting a bunch of random ass shit in there, such as the reference to that Baggy Trousers music video by Madness, and there's a bunch of other shit that I'll just throw at the wall to see what stuck. You may get the impression that the director was just completely bipolar, and you'll be right, but at least I tried to make it plot driven by telling a story, because Family Guy Lost episode was even more bipolar with all the random ass sequences, which do connect, by the way, believe it or not, if you actually watch the whole fucking thing. I paid Beef Fish Stick probably around £160 in terms of voice acting Peter Griffin of Fiverr, and you know what? It's money well fucking spent, especially when he voiced one of my friend's comic strip.
This is almost as bad as the time I gave Stewie AIDS. Hey Lois, get the fuck out of my way! This is like the time I ate a mother's newborn baby right in front of her eyes after its birth.
And this in-joke.
Cleveland is a monkey who needs to go back to the zoo. Cleveland is a monkey who eats his own poo. Cleveland is a monkey who eats bananas all day, and he'll get triggered if you take him away.
Because I have such a good time animating that one part when Christian Weston Chandler just rapes Stewie, and a bunch of other parts where Brian Griffin goes all John Woo and these two cats, and the fight in the mountains where the shooting at the photo convention, and the part inside the Family Guy living room. And that is why this was one of my favourite animations I have made in Source Filmmaker. Dude, I swear, right? In Demented Cartoons, we need to work together, not only as an animation team, but as a fucking writing team too. Hit me up, boys. Favourite Lolcow Archive episode? I would say my last ones with the skits, since I actually enjoyed animating and making those the most. The Chamber of Reavers and the Forces of Autism, where me and Stock and Anarchy fight the Forces of Autism in that hour and 30 minutes long animation. But in terms of Lolcow Archives themselves, I'll probably have to be either Cat Ninja, Tommy Pickles fan, or John the TV Show fan 1001. Those ones were funny, but I think the Cat Ninja one was pretty much my favourite in recent memory, since I went all out with a bang on that one. The Tommy Pickles fan one is my second favourite. Oh, and the John favourite was my third favourite as well. And probably the last ones would have to be the ones on Draw Jake, Matruku 11, and K9 X Tombs. Do you miss anything about making Lolcow Archive? Kinda, yeah. Sometimes I actually do want to go back to just trolling and prank calling, etc. On the plus side, making Lolcow Archive, documenting underground people in these communities was fun. Especially when I was fucking around with the commentary community in O3B Good, but all things have to come to an end. Because I was getting more of a short bus type following on my tail, and I wanted to stop all of this and make something worthy of my time. Short bus type being ALOGs and UTTP members. But it's a good thing that I've ended the series anyway, because I've always wanted to do that around late 2017 or 2018, but at the same time I've always referred to the guy who still makes Lolcow videos and trolls low-hanging fruit and easy targets, which I don't even do anymore. My autistic A-logers being Rosa Ray Ramsey, Rocky Rudderton fan, Max Sanderson, and Purple Sacramenton are the only ones that are keeping me relevant to this day and age. Am I really relevant though? Like, nobody really cares about me anymore, like, other than the brief, oh yeah, I remember them in the mid-2010s, because those types of chronically online losers never shut up about me, and I'm living in their head rent-free. They are so traumatized and offended to the point that they stalk my accounts and try to flag me down, and not to mention, they complain about their experiences with me and my crew, not doxing or whatever, but just bullying them to give a good indication that they don't fit in or that they're not welcome in my community, and later they cry like we'll just bomb the fucking family or they're just fucking rape victims. We're just a bunch of losers on the internet who just banter and have a laugh. Settle down, as these zoomers say. touch grass. But yet again, they're just going to be bitching and moaning, you can employ me. It's just a bunch of fucking whining, like a bunch of pussy fucking behaviour. Jesus Christ. But it's good that I ended the series, because some people still think I make those types of videos because I rarely talk about lolcows on my streams if I'm in some sort of drama with them. And that people I've known have seen me as a bad influence due to my past behaviour in these videos, to the point that they think that I'm going to do gay ops and dox or hack him, or record calls, which is also something that I within my Demented Cartoons community strongly reject. Also, that one final reason was because the local community was getting tedious and stale with people like Turkey Tom, which we don't have cool people anymore, like Blackbuster Critic or Mr. America anymore, and holding anyone back. Now we just have a bunch of they-thems censoring out shit, not only swear words, but words like kill in order to get monetization, which is fucking bullshit, and makes it more censored than cable TV or even streaming itself, because even U-rated or PG-rated films have words like kill and slaughter and torture. But something really weird about how this YouTube functions is that they want to keep it all PC without offending anyone by saying SA instead of sexual assault, while I was talking about touchy subjects such as child rape. I don't know, man. I mean, like, something doesn't add up here. Big Blue asks, which type of media shaped your worldview the most? I know I state this a lot, but I'm saying it's either The Evil Dead and Drawn Together. I don't know why, but it's the media I grew up with and the media that has come as an inspiration to me. Like, for example, when I'm walking around the beautiful English countryside or either the Heath, I'm just reminded of that feeling of being in an Evil Dead trilogy because of the trees and lakes alike. Maybe it's the opening scene that reminds me of it. Oh, and the overall dark forest aesthetic that resonates with me, and the British and American countryside that has more of a comfy but somewhat eerie feeling to it. Especially when you're out camping with friends, cooking marshmallows at a bonfire either on a cold or hot summer night. Especially during the 70s, the 80s, even the 90s, when there was no stress. No social media bollocks, just lads being lads, banging chicks when we didn't have to be guilty or being straight. Speaking of, I need to explore my local woods more, because there's a lot of more places that need exploring. Maybe I'll find a dead body and bring it home and use it as a puppet show, who knows. And Drawn Together too, because it's also shaped up my worldview in terms of nostalgia and how much it pays tribute to like old cartoons like Superman, Looney Tunes, Disney, and Hanna-Barbera, and Filmation cartoons as well, like all because they were responsible for doing that too. Especially with the art style, gags, and animation style too. I'll put it in the 1960s Thunderbirds too. Mainly because Drawn Together was a unique show that had a bit of everything. Kind of like Frasier was made out of different genres in the live action sitcom genre. But I think that's what just stood out about it, because the pleasing aesthetic and a type of humour which you really don't get anymore, sadly. And I don't like it because it's edgy. I like it because of a lot of things I just listed. If you got to work with any director for a movie or cartoon, you got to create, who would it be, living or dead? In terms of movies, I would say maybe Quentin Tarantino, Wes Craven, or the guy who directed Planet Terror. But that would never happen, so I'll have to keep it realistic. Because I was thinking about potentially volunteering for exploitation cinema scene, as well as maybe Unearthed Films or other fronts. Unearthed being led by Stephen Barrow, who I've talked to in DMs like almost 10 years ago. His company releases films like Guinea Pig and Fire and Ice, but it's mostly just low budget exploitation films, so maybe me and him could have a collaboration one day. My fame could probably be higher, and I was also thinking about collaborating with either Andy Wilson, Emily Eucas, or most likely Jim Claus, who directed When the Dead Go to Die and Where Backwards Fly. Oh, and paying a commission from Mike Diana himself to do some promotional art from my webcomic series too slow. I'm just worried that some people are going to be digging deep into my past and find out that I've been a part of some autistic drama back in like the day in order to counsel me and think I'm really autistic. That's all. But I mean, this isn't the first time I actually, paid somebody to do like some promotional art for my actual Demented cartoons, because I actually paid a porn artist by the name of Genso X to do like 2 promotional art for Herbie the Vampire Warrior and also a Jay and Herbie comic. So yeah. Do you think animation focuses too much on comedy? Yes, 100 times yes. Do you know how much I would kill for another heavy metal? Or seriously, another Dead Space movie? I'll fucking kill for another Aeon Flux or Spicy City. Seriously, whatever the fuck happened to that? But we do have Love, Death and Robots, but it really isn't the same as heavy metal, to be honest. You know what I really want? An R-rated Black Cauldron with tons of gore. Well, okay. But we do have the Berserk Golden Age trilogy, which does have shitty CGI animation, which that is distracting, but it really has like beautiful 2D animation to the point that it seems like you're watching like an NC-17 Disney film, but with rape. Any plans to keep a schedule or train your mind this year? Oh, that's a tricky one. Because I'm going to be completely vegan and I'm going to transition to a they-them non-binary, and I'm also a BLM Palestine supporter too. And when I become trans, you guys will have to cheer me on and say, "You girl, base trannies!" Ah! But joking aside, I have tried keeping myself on schedule. Like, do a bit of college work, go to the gym, and do a bit of animation, play games, work, play with my cat. I gave up the next day because I don't have the motivation inside of me. And in terms of training, yeah, I also have to do with motivation too, because a lot of the time I also either have to want to learn a new coded language like C# or Python in a game engine like Redo. Maybe it's because, I don't know, it's like I had the kind of motivation around 2023 but lost the motivation around like July of 2024 really, when I broke up with a friend group if anything, so, and I've been depressed since then. But anyway, back to the answer. Or I just wanted to learn how to do this really cool effect in, let's say, Blender, like Wallace walking around with 6 fat jiggly boos as he walks around naked with jiggle physics, or that really cool blood spurring effect, which I also keep hearing the simulation is better than Houdini rather than Blender, which I'm just scared of because I just feel like I have to constantly keep on converting and porting and switching between the two, and also it's this dead end thing which you just want to make something like either this or something that you've seen in the 3D animation, but you can't get it in the way that you want it to without hours of Frankenstein the code. Not to mention, it's fucking frustrating that you have to figure out how to do all this, and yet you're spending nights on how to figure out how to do a fucking blood drip in a fucking fluid engine. I've asked for help in the Blender Discord, but for the most part I've just asked Grok or Gemini AI or even ChatGPT AI to tell me on how to do it. I half succeeded with it due to the amounts of absolute frustrations I've had due to it being a bunch of outdated options from older versions of either Blender or some old version of a plugin. There's your fucking reason why the Gaunt's punishment video took a fucking month to complete, because I was learning as I was going along. Nuff fucking said. What doth life?
What doth life?
I watched a bit of Xavier Renegade Angel, and it is funny. I think I found out about the show through Max Mofo's playlist out of all things. The funniest one is with the babies, but I still need to finish that show someday and binge it on my jellyfin. Harry Prods 1275 asks, what is your favourite decade for animation? This is an overused one, but the 90s and the 2000s are my favourite. Mainly the 90s, since it was the time of experimentation. I would say the 70s or even the 80s is another one, mainly because of experimental films like Coonskin that came around the time. But the 90s and the 2000s had the Disney Renaissance era, which had a lot of pretty cool shit that managed to reference humor and other types of humor from the older Disney and the new, appealing to both audiences. DreamWorks films like Road to Eldor did the same thing, and also I really do miss the times when we had hot cartoon girls in these 2D animated movies. But yeah, I'm pretty nostalgic when it comes to like old and newish stuff. When can we expect your review of New Pantheon Stockholm and Gardabil? When I go off my fat ass and actually finish it, but regardless, I'm going to be blunt about what I saw and not going to be too kind on this one, so stay tuned. Calm Plum asks, you managed to generate some serious butthurt. It gets the butthurt to new creations. People are still obsessed with the fuck out of me because they either want to project their insecurities over me, or they want to feel better about themselves, or they're just that fucking retired. I know my media college caught wind of that I made demented YouTube poops around the time they sent my channel to my therapist and my parents and thought I was fucking insane. The other kids in my class were pussies when it came to that kind of shit, although I was 19 and they were like 16 or 17 around the time, to be fair. That was 2013, by the way, and they were just a bunch of anime normies that were just constantly obsessed over MCU garbage, so this was before when they went cartoony, wokified. Favourite Flash artist, is it David Firth? I would say Apocalypse Cartoons, who I thought about interviewing one day in a series that I thought about doing, where I interview Flash artists and other cartoonists. Apocalypse cartoons, aka Dean Packers, since it rolls off the tongue easily. Style was mostly this weird trippy hybrid of Ralph Bakshi, Pinky and the Brain, and John Kay. His humour was really fucking out there. Maybe some people might not be much of a fan of stuff like Father Tucker the Child Fucker, but due to my dark sense of humour, I actually found it quite funny to the point of actually being an inspiration. And if you actually watch a lot of Dean Packers' stuff, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Is it called detachment from Zoomer SJW Butthurt Internet possible? Is the deep web or dark web a detachment enough to get away from those types, including normies? Just food for thought. Also, if you're going to post on here, like, you have to be careful not to do anything stupid or even fuck up. How's the future looking and where are we all headed? Hell. Dystopia nightmare in the UK full of social engineering, mass censorship. All indie games have to be DEI shoehorned into them to the point that actual good indie games have to be migrated to the dark web to sell that shit. And I bet David Szymanski, the guy who made Dusk, has to go on that road as well. And Demented Cartoons for his cartoons as well. And eventually it's going to be like an Italian gangster drama with Sopranos or The Wire, where we're just in an alleyway trading Demented Cartoons or indie games like this fucking Chris Meth. But Eyo, boss, we got some Demented Cartoons in that Dusk game you promised. The fraud police are watching everywhere. Oh, the credit cards abound us. You'll be fine with Bitcoin. Creative modus operandi. Yes, but don't predict that I'm going to upload my schedule on time. Del Rayo 1991 asks, have you ever thought or will make a game? I'm planning to, but I haven't worked on a Doom map since 2024, but with the actual games being made, that would probably take years, but because I can imagine that when I made my game after a few years, everybody that I actually know or been in contact with has left the internet. But at the same time, I do have my plans for making them. It just won't be ASAP, not this year, maybe next, or the one after that. I may or may not make my magnum opus, Hope of the Vampire will come true, so don't get too excited. Although you could donate to my Patreons, or maybe some other sites, so I actually can have equipment and money to pay actors, you know, since I can't do everything at once. How do you type with boxing gloves on? You know, it took me a while to actually realise that was a reference from Homestar Runner. Ask the Short Bus kids why it looks like a severely autistic kid tried to beat up his own mom when he was sending gibberish messages. Free space. I wish I had free space. But I have an apartment. Do you have weasels on a stick? No, I have no idea what it tastes like, if it does taste horrible or if it actually tastes good. But I don't know, I mean, I've never done hunting before. What drugs have you done? I've done bud during a house party when I was 18, watching Ricky Gervais show, but That was back when I used to go out a lot more. Sadly, I don't anymore, and I'm stuck here whilst all the other dudes have left the internet. Destructive Bagel R2Q asks, what are some music tastes that have resulted in some sort of scorn from other people or major in the group? One time I shared a song on Facebook with the Insane Clown Posse. My Facebook friends thought it was just fucking garbage, especially when I was also into stuff like breakcore and other types of industrial metal from the 90s, which for some reason my family members don't like. What would you do to stop increasing the spreading of cancer called Gen Z, or the generations after area vocabulary? Assume a genocide, or better yet, just don't racist buggers on the internet and actually get them to touch grass or have a life rather than being addicted to tablets, streaming TV, Fortnite, etc. Actually raise your kid to speak like actual fucking English and not somebody who thinks it's cool to be a fucking loser who talks like, bruh, this is Kino, so drip. Something that I'm getting sick and tired of how Zoomers operate is how they always friendly fire by saying how they always hate Zoomers and how they act, but they act as bad as them too. So it's like, you know, that's why these fuckers just piss me off and I just can't even fucking take them seriously. It's just like, just pick a fucking lane, man, you know? Because, you know, it's like the same fucking people that say, oh, I hate fucking band kid memes, but yet again, they have like, they spam fucking memes of fucking Peter Griffin all the fucking time, and it's like, yeah, okay, right, okay. It's like you just don't give a fuck that you're a fucking hypocrite and a fucking retard. What are some pieces of not so popular media that you would recommend to others to give a chance? I have to be the ones that I always keep talking about, but the thing that I always love introducing my friends to obscure songs / movies / TV shows, manga and comics, etc. I feel like I want some people to give some things a chance, like convince a Brit Bong boomer like my dad to sing the Ramones with me on karaoke night on SingStar, which he replies, no, I don't know that one because it was on the British charts back then when it came out in the late 70s. Sure you don't know it because, you know, you can still sing it with me. I even introduced him to stuff like industrial metal or other kinds of music like KMFDM, Pitch Shifter and Ministry, to which he got into. He likes live gigs, but it takes some convincing to your friends and family to watch not so popular media, really. Like getting them to watch like a Soviet film like Stalker, or even Ralph Bakski's version of Lord of the Rings, which you can watch it on Amazon. If you were to become the supreme leader of your country / world, what would be on your list of agendas? I'll be on your list of agendas. I'll be as cool as Adolf Hitler, but really I'll just make shit actually better and more affordable and fix all the country's problems, to be honest, because I'm just sick and tired of migration, unaffordable shit, censorship, and all that other fucking bollocks. Have you ever had the experience of abrupt talk at a family's house during a holiday? Well, I didn't start the political talk, but I knew that during Christmas my cousin was born in 2004. Just opened the Christmas crapper and mentioned something about sins being gluttony, and then he says the other sins should be racism, homophobia and transphobia, like he was Hillary Clinton. But on the plus side, we're not shooting horn but BS about Trump and all, but we actually do get along, and just hopefully that he doesn't seize my social media or else, because if he did, then obviously no. In Virus, like, I mean I can't say his fucking name, but so I just call him Tanaka. What was your favourite Demented cartoon you've ever made, rather than the one you enjoy making and the most where you had some good memories making, that you consider like your personal magnum opus in a way? Like I said, 2014 to 2015 with Sparky, The Milkman, which had good memories. I was saying ranging from Wallace and Gromit and Family Guy and Happy Hentai music video were the best, but in terms of magnum opus, I would say Wallace and Gromit and Family Guy last episode, like I said, since even the Wallace and Gromit though, people still talk about that to this day, which is a good thing. If you were to choose a metal / industrial / rock band to do an official soundtrack for one of the upcoming cartoons, what would it be? Vaxxon is a band I just discovered, which, whilst watching Chuck Steele, watch it, pretty good shit. Industrial Wars would probably have to be Code 93 or Flop and Gristle or anything more obscure. Rock would also fall into the industrial category like My Life in the Thrill Cult, Electric Hellfire Club, Psycho Bomb, or Machines of the Love and Grace, which was also in Mortal Kombat and that Punisher Warzone movie. Tooney asks, favorite country? The patriarchal USA and maybe Japan due to its low crime standards. The best era of the internet. Of fucking course you Zoomers can't even bring up anything other than the fucking internet, can't you? All of you grew up with that shit. Okay, in all seriousness, I did grow up with that shit, especially when I was actually started using the internet, which I think might have been around 2003 when I was 8 years old. Had no block of supervision, you know, I didn't turn fucked up like all the other consumer kids did, but I was mainly using it just to look up cheats, downloading mods for my favorite games like Quake, Doom, or even Dungeon Keeper. Compared those to innocent times of how it was like today with Zoomers and Gen Alpha going on Roblox getting groomed, getting addicted to pornography, infighting, caring so much about stupid ass drama to the point that where their security farms would stalk you forever. Meanwhile, my parents kept this in moderation and actually forced me to take breaks from it and actually touch grass. But to answer your question, I'd say either the 90s or mostly the 2000s, since it was actually being used by bros and all that would just use the internet to post something for a laugh instead of just taking it seriously and acting like a gay ass nerd. Talking about how much you like dick so much with your autistic meme obsession. The early to mid 2010s was, to an extent, were good, but we had a rise of censorship around the time. Not a severe extent as of now, but a lot of Zoomers like to say that years such as 2015 and 2016 were the goated edgy years on the internet because you had Filthy Frank and iDubbbz, which the latter happened to be fake. But yet I do see the reason why people do consider it the last years to be edgy because Trump was elected. And we had stuff like Moon Man and all. But I do see all these edgy fuckers act so overly performative in these videos, trying way too hard to be edgy and funny. Something that doesn't really add up for 2016 because being the most edgy year on the internet, because for me it was obviously the 2000s. I know because I was playing rape flash games on Newgrounds, especially games where you get to throw babies and fucking wood chippers and like, you know, beat them up with a fucking sledgehammer while the head explodes. And there's also games where you get to beat up Justin Bieber and Britney Spears. We had a lot of edgy shit on the stick page too. That would probably be too edgy for today's generation, since everything has to be fucking pussified and purified and mainstream for fucking YouTube these days, with sensibilities and these annoying Zoomer cunts for the brain age of 15 years old. The most edgy part that I missed out on was sites like Rotten.com before it got taken down. If I got caught looking at this shit though, I would have been banned from using the internet, but yet I didn't even know that shit even existed around the time, especially porn, to which I managed to get on my computer, which must have been a virus when I was 10 years old, because me and a friend were looking at some media files and saw some hot chick fucking herself with a dildo, and we thought, ew, wait a minute, I thought girls had dicks. Please bring back the old like stick figure fights thing with the new metal playing in the background, like holy fucking shit. Like I also miss shit like Bunny Kill 2 with Kim FDM playing. Bunny Kill was fucking awesome, and it made me feel like I was in a Quake 4 level. Favorite era of gaming? 90s and 2000s were the golden years of gaming. Favorite indie gaming? Dusk. Pizza Tower comes close, but it doesn't beat something like Sonic or Mario. But I'll definitely say next to Dusk would be, I would say something like, you know, close to Dusk would be Revenge of the Sunfish or LSD Dream Emulator. What do you feel is missing from modern horror films? Everything. Everything that makes a horror film horrifying. It's so disconnected that I feel like I have to over-explain what the fuck is missing. Here we go. I went to the cinema to see tons of horror films last year. that only range from fucking boring to below average. The Black Phone 2 was fucking boring, and the premise was a fucking knockoff of Nightmare on Elm Street, which did the whole trapped on a dream and dream thing a whole lot better, to the point that it was bloody and horrifying. Here it just looks fucking silly, and I can't believe somebody did the CGI for this shit. It's just like, who thought this looked good in the final cut? Like, look at this shit. It looks like a fucking comedy. Also, the rest of the film was just boring, and it was produced by Blumhouse Films, who are known to make the most boring, safe, edgy, non-risk taking, boring slop I've ever seen put to film, like an any A24 film in the current age. So you know it's going to be shit. The Conjuring, Last Rites, and Keeper were a chore to sit through. Nothing was good about those movies, and they still do the same boring bullshit formula, and a lot of PG-13 horror films that have been doing for years. And it's also a chore because I feel like I couldn't get my money back from watching these turds. Silent Night Deadly Night remake was also fucking shit. It was a toned down version of the original and was criminally tedious. The gore didn't make up because half of it was just off screen, which is saying a lot of an 18 plus films, because those kills are just as disturbing as a kitten playing with a ball of yarn. And it felt like I was watching a toned down version of a PG-13 horror film for the 2000s, except those were way more appealing than this fucking turd. The main villain looks more like a sex offender than he does a fucking serial killer. I knew for a fact that they were desperate to make the victims unlikable, and just to be like, oh, look at this woman is a Nazi and she's bad. Also, there's a chainsaw kill, and we don't get to see the fucking details. The remake was so fucking boring. Just do yourself a favour, go watch the original, and especially the one with Garbage Day, which is a sequel to the original, because those are 10 times more entertaining than this soulless garbage. So what's so bad about these horror films? Well, they're boring, they're predictable, no soul aesthetic, safe edgy, millennial writing, boring villains, woke bullshit. So that's a lot of problems stacked up in this shit sandwich from top to bottom. So yeah, my problem with modern horror films is like I told you, everything was missing in today's horror films. Fucking hell. So that's all we have for 2025's Q&A. More content, cartoons are coming soon. Please subscribe to Real Demented Cartoons YouTube channel for that content. See ya.
Okay, as I was working on my video, I've got 2 other questions, so I'm just going to speed run those questions. Kito asks, have you seen any decent adult cartoons lately? Not really, no, since we live in the 2020s where everything is shit or just painfully mediocre at best. Speaking of, I need to get back to watching Spawn, The Oblongs, and Tripping the Rift. The latter was pretty funny, not gonna lie. But maybe I could say Smiling Friends to an extent, since Season 3 was actually good. Not to the point that fans think it's the most clever thing in recent memory. I just thought it was decent. Okay, apart from the new shitty episodes of South Park, of course, when it's just Saddam Hussein but with a Trump skin on him. But regarding Smiling Friends, it's okay, just when the flies being the autistic fans is a huge problem, that's all. What drama shows do you watch? Haven't watched them as of recent. I need to rewatch Walking Dead, Game of Thrones, and start a bunch of other shit like Vikings and The Wire. Oh, and there's another one that nobody talks about called Banshee. I definitely recommend watching that. How long have you been working on your animations for? Long before you were born, kid. But really, it dates back to 2006, 7 years before I started Demented Cartoons, when I was just making slideshows, which I considered animations around the time. They weren't even funny. Same with the shit I was making around 2008 to 2009. Most traumatic experiences? Dreams, nightmares, that is all. What games do you think would make good movies? Legacy of Kain, Blood Rain, and maybe Quake. Vida Dad's Taro asks, I've asked the first question so many times, I'm not asking that again. Rank each race. Watch the Which Race Has the Best Stats by the YouTube channel Offending Everybody, and then come back. Could you re-upload the Baby Hads pot video? I thought that video was hilarious. I will soon. It's unlisted at the moment. It's in the Cringing About My Past Volume 1, which, if you don't know, was the time when I was trying to rip off Arby and the Chief. Favorite and least favorite decade, and which decades do you consider the most overrated and overhated, and underrated? I don't know, it seems like all decades are liked in their own way. Not all of them are perfect, though. And the last one I'm not answering, since we already know the answer to that. Okay, fucking hell, that's all the questions done. Now fuck off back to your video games, bitch.